Okay, so we're live. Well, so we about to spend some time with the Yapas. And how you liking the married life?
It's good. You ready to separate yet?
I am not. Oh yeah, I'm ready to separate. Yeah, from me, but not from you.
Not for me.
Yeah, not from me.
Okay.
Well,
Yay, brother Danubian. Hell
peace,
yeah, I am.
I've heard that. Now I haven't been following it like I have been following it. Angela hasn't been following this uh, Geiger case like I have. And to be honest, I wasn't following it at first because I just yeah,
You
but
know what happened? Your TV channel went off, and now you have Court TV.
right,
I think that's what happened.
yeah. But even then, just like I told you, I said no matter what kind of verdict they give, I'm not going to be satisfied with it because um,
It's no satisfying me.
right. There's no satisfying me not as far as that goes. Um, let's see. Today was discussed. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Um, because my whole thing is if she hadn't gotten convicted, I've been like, okay, FFBD. And if she did, it's still just a sacrificial lamb, still just up in the bucket, um, and still just something to make it seem like they're trying to give us some kind of justice or whatever. But they're not, and the system is what it is, and it continues to be what it is. Uh,
Today was disgusting. She should have gotten at least
she
25
should
years.
she should have gotten at least 25 years. But I have a theory, and this armchair quarterbacking. But my theory is that they knew from the beginning that they were going to go light on her in the conviction or in the sentencing, but they knew that they couldn't get away with not convicting her. So it was more like a strategy. That's what I think. I wasn't in the jury room. I don't know. Excuse me. But for me, the whole thing is just about the fact that we really just need to separate. Excuse me. I hear, I have seen the people on television. They were protesting and they're talking about, we're gonna march and we have marched. We have marched the soles off our shoes. You know, nothing. And we're talking about the same stuff we was talking about 10 years ago. We're talking about the same stuff we were talking about 20 years ago. We're talking about the same stuff we were talking about 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, 100 years ago. And we're still talking about it, and we're going to be talking about it again next year. Uh, Tammy the Mammy should be ashamed of her. Oh, look, coddling a killer.
Mm,
Brother Danubian. Yeah, March for what? March for what?
yeah.
And Angela and I were having a discussion about when you're always hearing our people talking about we're going to make these demands, and we're demanding this and we're demanding that and demanding, and for me it's like this. You go into people, you're making a demand. You're like, I'm making this demand, and you're going to do this or else what?
Hey, Redbird 101.
Peace, Redbird 101.
Hey, Black Gilligan.
Right, Gilligan? Thank you for reading that for me. I don't have my glasses on.
Um,
But yeah, that's my whole thing is while we're making all these demands, and if we're it's always like this or else, and they'll look at us and say or else what? Or else what? What you gonna do? Who gonna check me, boo?
who's gonna check me, boo? And I guess I just feel like if she had gotten 25 years, if she had gotten 99 years, did we get us free? Are we free? I mean, I don't know. I just, it's no satisfying me. Like I feel like with this relationship, it's too little, too late. It's just nothing. Like I can't imagine any scenario or anything that could happen where I'd be like, okay. I just kind of feel like there's no satisfying me with this.
Right.
With
For
this
me,
society.
right. It's beyond just this case. Um, it's about the fact that we really need to separate from these people, and of course that's it's more than a notion to separate, to just totally get away, but like psychologically, it has to start in here. Has to start in here, and I think one of the things that is a problem, as I perceive it, one of the things that's a problem is that we really think that these people can change. We really think that they can, if we just explain it enough, if we just beg them enough, if we just show them how much they're hurting us, then at some point they'll understand our pain, and they know what they're doing to us.
Mm-hmm.
They
You just forgive them enough, and
right.
yeah, it ain't nothing. I don't really have anything to say about it. I don't feel like, yeah.
And I did say that I'm gonna be upset if I see um um
People
about
dragging.
yeah
Oh, the brother.
if I see the brother, if I see our people dragging him because he went and he has to hug this woman, all this different stuff, that will upset me. The reason it will upset me is because all of this stuff has a context. It's the easiest thing in the world to drag somebody, but when you look at it in context, and if you look at what our people are, it, just like I told you, we seek peace. We're a peaceful people. We're a loving people. We're a forgiving people, and to not be that way is totally against our
Hey,
nature.
sweetheart.
Peace, but to be that way is totally against our nature.
To not be that way.
Right, to not be that way is
Right.
against our nature.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we see people hurting, it doesn't matter who it is. When we see people hurting, we want to comfort them. It's not because we're coons and all this different thing. It's because that's our nature. Just like in my opinion, their nature is to be freaking barbarians. Okay, and brutes. That's their nature. Our nature is the opposite of that, and so we do things that seem messed up. You know, in retrospect, we do things that in the moment may look like something that may be something that we wouldn't do 10 years ago. I'd have done what he did. I'd have been that would have been me. Now that I've matured, I'm waking up, and you got to remember this kid's 18, plus his brother just got gunned down, and he's hurt. He's trying to find healing any place he can get it, in any way he can get it. And I think that he also, in his mind, was honoring his brother. So, so me, I wouldn't, today, the person I am now, and with the understanding I have now, there's no way in heck I'd have done what he did. However, I do understand it. I do understand because I understand our people and I understand the nature of our people because we're a good people and we're just we're loving and kind and we're spiritual people. So
We need to learn balance, Black Gillian says,
mhm,
and stop allowing them to manipulate our emotions and love
absolutely
pink
true,
demons. Um, his
absolutely
mom
true.
gave them a pass too. I believe they had already negotiated the bag and asked them to do that. You know how I kind of feel? I feel like when you talk about learning balance and like I think that me personally, if I were in that situation, and I've always kind of felt like this, and I don't know, I've never been in that situation, but when I imagine now my person is dead, you getting dead, you going to jail, it's nothing. And again, it's no satisfying me for that. Like, is like I'm not gonna feel you're not my person is not gonna come back to life because you're in jail. My person is not gonna come back to life because you're dead. You not like my person is gone, and so that's like like I just kind of feel like I think I would have been similar to the brother or the family in a sense. I don't know if it would have been for money, but just like it's I don't really care about like the fact that my person is dead is my concern. The other people, I don't know. It's like it's nothing that could happen that would make that right for me except to go back and undo it, and that's not going to happen. Right. But I do think that there's an interesting dynamic as I'm watching in terms of the Christianity element, and I'm really, really curious about that. I grew, my grandparents, were involved with church. Like I feel like I had some exposure to things church, but I wasn't like deeply involved with the church in a way that I feel is debilitating to me. And I don't like, and so there's something where I feel like there's like a cross section between Christianity and white supremacy, and Christianity and us being docile, and Christianity and us always being like on ready to forgive, and Christianity and us hating ourselves and hating things that are of us,
but loving them.
But loving them.
Okay.
So that's kind of like the thing. Not in terms of the specifics of this case, but I'm kind of curious and interested in him saying, I didn't hear it, but you said that the brother was like, well, if she finds Jesus, and I'm like, well, how does he know she hasn't found Jesus? Because I feel like a lot of white supremacists, a lot of white folks, they Christian on one hand and they gunning you down on the other hand, and there doesn't seem to be a conflict, from their perspective or from what I can tell from the outside looking in. So that's something that, so I'm like, so that whole piece, I mean, that they're so involved with the church. I'm kind of curious about, that in their specific case, but also in our broader case, and how that prevents us from thinking clearly, how our emotions are manipulated by our desire to be good Christians, by our desire to be good people, by our natural nature to be compassionate people and wanting to stand like, I'm kind of curious about that and how it impacts, our development and growth and our movement toward freedom, toward separation, toward, or how it keeps us, enslaved. Because I think emotionally, I think we're enslaved. You had said that you thought that if it was a jury, and what do y'all think about this? That if it was a jury of all Black men, that she would have never been convicted.
That's what I believe, and that's
no one knows these people better than us.
Right, and I'm just telling you that's unfortunate. As a Black man, as a very strongly pro-Black man, a pro-Black man. I really believe that if it had been a jury of Black men, now if it had been a jury of Black women, she'd have gotten a bigger sentence. She'd have gotten convicted and got a bigger sentence. I really believe if it had been a jury of Black men, and I don't like saying this, but I'm just telling you. I think she would have walked, especially as soon as she turned on the white woman tears.
Yeah, and she was blind.
She would have walked. Now, but at the same time, it depends on the Black men. If it was a bunch of Black men like me, that is a bit of a different story. But a lot of these well-trained, white identified Black men, she'd have walked. Because you saw what his brother did.
I saw that.
And I'm just saying that's unfortunate. But that's what I believe. I would hope that I'd be wrong, but that's what I believe.
Yeah.
But it always comes back. Everything comes down to, for me, separating from these people, because we're gonna just keep having the same conversation over and over. The same thing's gonna happen over and over. It's not gonna stop. It's not gonna stop because they won't change, because they can't change. They can't change. They are what they are. Just like we are what we are. They are what they are, and it's not going to change. And the only hope for our people is to separate from them.
And how do you do that?
And how do you do that?
Yeah.
What they talking about out there?
Wow, I never thought about that, says Brother Danubian. A jury of bed bucking traders probably would have let her walk.
Probably, and that's the whole thing. This is, you know what, though, brother Newbie, this is what's so unfortunate is I don't even know if it would have to be a bunch of bed bucking traders because our people have been so conditioned to to have empathy for white people and disdain for black people
And
for ourselves.
especially,
We've been trained to hate ourselves.
yeah, and especially empathy for a white woman crying.
Right.
Like, and then I was looking at her. I mean, I'm like, she's blonde. She's big eyes, symmetrical face. She's an attractive woman. You were saying she looked like she didn't have on makeup. I think she had on makeup. It was a no makeup look. But I mean, I feel like,
Right.
we're trained from birth. Like everything we see, everything we hear teaches us and the whole society in a way to have sympathy and empathy
For them.
for white, especially a crying white woman,
And to hate ourselves.
and to hate ourselves.
Because when
Hey, radical sister.
peace, that's my sister out there. But but the thing is, when we see a black woman crying,
Hey,
we don't
black
have
sis.
that same empathy.
Right.
We do not have that same empathy or sympathy. We're like, well, black women are strong, they're tough, they're like made out of metal. They're made out of metal like a piece of whatever. Black women are like tanks.
Mm-hmm.
They're like the Energizer Bunny. You just freaking, they take a lick and keep on ticking.
Peace, step, brother.
Peace, step, brother.
Step.
Mm-hmm. And so and that kind of bothers me too, because when we see these white tears, all this empathy starts coming out, and all this. There's black women been crying for centuries, having our children pulled from us, having husbands and wives pulled apart, watching your babies get thrown to alligators, being raped, being tortured, being working out in the hot sun, terrorized,
exploited.
and our women been crying for centuries, and nobody gave a damn.
Mm-hmm.
But then a white woman starts, and then everybody's
I wish it happened. What did she say?
Everybody, and everybody wants to come to their rescue.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The only the only problem I see though with the discussion about separation is a legitimate question, which is, okay, well, how do we separate?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a legitimate question.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody doesn't have. Well, actually, there's not a lot of places to go physically,
Mm-hmm.
To escape.
Mm-hmm.
But
or is there any place to go physically to escape?
Or just like African Esquire asked you, like, is there any place safe, any place for us to go?
Right.
And she said no.
Right. Because if you look at HAARP, if you look at bombing us from the air, if you look at, as you say, they're obsessed with us, where can we go?
If you look at a hurricane stopping over the top of a landmass and then just parking there.
That's what I said about her.
Yeah. But anyway, I apologize.
That's okay. I mean, I'm not saying anything. I'm just, so I'm like, I don't know if we can like physically escape, but I do feel like the first step, like we talk about all the time, is that mental separation. Mm-hmm. And also, I feel like it's really important to me that we support one another in that separation. That, like I think that when we see each other, when we see each other, I feel like we have to, as much as possible, have empathy and understanding for the fact that we've been programmed from birth, from before birth, from in the womb, mm-hmm. to hate ourselves and to love them. Mm-hmm. And so how do we start to break those chains? Like in blaming each other for being brainwashed, I don't think is necessarily like, the strongest, most effective route to break those chains.
Right.
So I think, we have to see each other for who we are. We have to see ourselves for who we are. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like to me, honestly, I feel like we're just as much white supremacists, a part of the system of white supremacy, maintaining the system of white supremacy, mm-hmm. advancing the system of white supremacy as anybody else. So
because we were trained in it.
Because we were trained in it.
Right.
We've been trained to hate black and love white, just like they've been trained to hate black and love white.
Could you imagine Well, with that peace like this, could you imagine what would happen if our people started to love ourselves?
Right.
You know what happened? We start marrying each other. We
Hmm.
start procreating with each other.
Hmm.
We will start producing
But when you
beautiful
say
little
we would
black babies.
start, I mean, when I look around, I see people who are married. I see people who are connecting with black people.
Hmm.
I see people who are creating black babies. I mean, I do see other things, but like
Hmm.
I feel like, and when I think about like, sometimes I look at footage of like people on the African continent, and I'm like, gosh darn, it's a lot of black people there. I saw this footage. I was going to ask you, has anybody heard of that model Naomi Campbell? Do you think
Hmm.
of her as dark skin?
I do.
I saw this footage of Naomi Campbell. I guess Fashion Week is going on, and it's her with two, I guess, African models. I don't know who they are. Naomi, if anybody ever saw Daughters of the Dust, and there was this one character who they called Red Mary, or they called her Red, and she was like dark skinned, but in the context of them, she was light skinned. Naomi Campbell next to these two black women look light skinned
Mm.
almost.
Nice.
But anyway, I look at this stuff and I'm like, it is a lot of black people in the world having black babies. I don't know what the percentages are. I don't really know, but sometimes I feel like, am I getting overly caught up in this idea that there are some people who are not doing it? But like when I look around at my personal life, I know your life is different. I
Hmm.
see black couples. I see black people together. I see black people choosing black people. So
But one of my problems is that every place I look, especially in media, just like we were watching Core TV, they show two commercials, one right behind another one. They had this black man surrounded by all these white women, no black women, and this unambiguously black man in the midst of these black women. And then the next commercial show what was it? Was a black woman and her white husband
oh, I think you
talking
told me
about
about
marriage. I was
that.
like, look at this mess,
Yeah.
and that's just like a couple small examples, but it's inescapable. You just keep seeing it, and and they're trying to get in our head worse than they already are.
Right. I mean, I think they're trying to I think there is definitely an agenda out there to wipe us out. I'm not denying that. But what I am perhaps denying or perhaps entertaining is that I don't know. Like, I think that, like, I just feel like if I don't focus on that, I see a lot of black folks together,
Hmm.
and like, and I feel like I do see black love. And I guess I've been trained or become oriented to where it's like, what they like, what you focus on grows, and I feel like that's what I believe that we should be focusing on as much as possible. How can we find the nuggets or the big pieces? Where do we find black love? How can we celebrate that? How can we build that? And I don't mean couples necessarily, I include couples, but like any place where black people are loving black people, any place where black people are supporting black people, any place where black people are big upping black people,
Hmm.
where do we find that? How can we be that? How can we create that? How can we magnify that? How can we focus our energy and our love on that? Because I feel like our energy and our love is powerful. And that's
Hmm.
what they like. I feel like the other society wants that from us. They feed off of our energy. They feed off of our love. They feed off of, they want,
Hmm.
and it's like if we can figure out how to continuously refocus back on building ourselves, on supporting ourselves, on loving ourselves, I feel like we got it. Like it's
Well,
already
that's true. I'll get to this, and this is a little, and give me a tell on myself. Angela has me to where we're starting to concentrate more on like the reading of Black literature, which I mean I was already reading like the history and stuff, but as far as like literature, so and Angela and I like we read books together, and if I'm not reading it, she's reading it to me,
mm-hmm.
and like Octavia Butler, Tanana Reed, do so on, and what
Look at you pronouncing her name.
but anyway, 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 all I'm trying to say is that one of the most important things our people can do is to take control of our own narrative.
Mhm.
You know, that's why I'm working on my book. That's why Anjali wrote her book. You know, we're trying to have control of our own narrative because we see what happens when other people control our narrative. And we're, as far as I can see, we're the only group of people who don't control our own narrative, and
Mm.
everybody else very closely and very tightly controls their narrative.
Mm-hmm.
But we have people, we have
Hey,
people
Christina,
who
Edward.
are peace. We have people who are against us controlling our narrative. That's a mess.
Mm-hmm.
What you're reading up there?
I saw a note to you from Black Fist, so I was trying to.
Oh,
This Black promo Redux by our
oh,
beloved elder. Oh, got the novel.
yeah,
This
that's
Black.
what.
Oh,
Buy this black, buy this black on Amazon. Um, I think Black Fist put the link up there.
okay.
So yeah,
Yeah,
buy that and read that.
yeah. And I feel like this. Sometimes I feel like just like when you talk about like the like there's something to be said for when you're mad. There's something to be said for like there's a certain like when somebody makes you mad and you're like and then they did this and I told them and I'm not going and you know like it's like an energy and it's a vibration that goes through you. But I don't know if it's necessarily like I think that there's a time and a place for everything. But I feel like we're in a I think that in some ways we're caught in a loop, some of us,
Mhm.
and that I think that as we're able to, as we mature, as we have more emotional and spiritual maturity, that we need to like move on from being mad and like just like in this vibration,
Right.
this loop, this circle of like madness and anger. And look at what they did to us. And this isn't right. And this isn't fair. And they ain't boo boo. And,
Right.
like I think we need to, those of us who are able to, need to move on. Now, I think that there is something to be said for, just like there are stages of grief, there are
Right.
probably stages of freedom, there are probably stages of separation. And perhaps madness is,
And this righteous
anger.
indignation.
Right.
You
And
know.
perhaps that's, a normal hate healthy stage. And I'm not saying that, that there's never a time or a place for anger.
Hmm.
But I do think that, again, when we want to talk about energy, that when we're in the flow of being angry at them, that's energy. Like that one of these little
Right.
these movies I used to love. Don't hate me, don't. But this show, two can play that game. It was like this one scene where the woman had disconnected from the man, and his friend was like, "Look, go over to her house and get her mad at you. That's how to get her to start answering your calls. That's how to
Hmm.
get her back in the loop. She's out of the loop. You got to go get her mad at you. You can't get her to love you right now, but go get her mad."
Right.
And sure enough, that was like, and it was kind of like I think about that, like and
Well,
there's
let me.
been sociological studies done that show that any emotion, if you can get somebody to feel anger, fear, excitement, anything, then you can use that on your
Right.
behalf.
And that's exactly what I wanted to allude to though, is that they're energy vampires. They need our energy. They say they don't want us around them, but they need us around them. They need our energy. They need our creativity. They need everything. They need all these things about us. And and the thing is, when you're considering or you're thinking about separating, right? If if you're thinking about them and what they did to you, then you're not thinking about separating because you can only really hold one thought
Mm-hmm.
at a time. It's not a case of not being able to walk and chew gum at one time. But if you're focused on something, then you can only focus, like truly focus on one thing at a time. It's like hearing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can only hear or you can only listen to one thing at a
Mm-hmm.
time. You can hear many things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I hear that the refrigerator in the kitchen. You know, and I hear the air conditioner running,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm listening to you.
Mm-hmm.
So you can listen, you can hear many things, but you can only listen to one thing. You can only focus on one thing. So all the stuff that they do to us and it happens around us is like white noise. You can hear it, or we have to learn to be where we hear it, just like we hear the things that, but still we're listening to our separation. We're listening to our freedom. That's where our focus is, because we keep it's kind of funny because when we have these situations like with um, the sentencing of Amber Geiger, right? We focus on that and we act like we're so surprised about it, and they're talking about marching and protesting and all this. Something else is going to come up in 6 months to a year, and we're going to be marching and protesting. And then in 6 months to a year from that, we're going to be marching. It's like this cycle that we can't seem to break out of, and we're in the cycle because we're trying to stay in the system. We're trying to join with the system when we should be trying to get the heck away from it. Because if you're trying to get away from it, then you don't care. You don't care what they're doing. And it's not like it doesn't bother you, but it's like the noise in the background. You know, I hear it, but I'm focused on getting the heck away from you because it's not safe for me. You know, being with you is not safe for me. It's not safe for my health. It's not safe for my sanity. You know, it's not safe in any way. Well, if you're not with me, then you're not gonna. If you're not with me, then you're not gonna have all the. You're not gonna have all the baubles. You're not gonna have that TV and that 4K player. Say, okay, well, keep it. I'd rather sit someplace on the beach, listening to the waves, enjoying being at peace, and away from you.
Right, or sit someplace not on the beach and not enjoying the waves, but away from your behind.
Right.
Because I'm done. I'm finished. It's a wrap for me.
Right.
It's no going back. I'm done.
Right, and it truly is. It truly is like a bad relationship. I think a lot of our people who have decided, this separation is the only answer, is tantamount to a person that's in a relationship, and they want the person to change. They give them chance after chance, and then at some point, at that pivotal point, they're like, they're never going to change,
or
they're never going to change.
Or so if they do change, I hope you change. Good luck to you. Good luck to the next one. But I'm out.
Yeah, but I'm out.
I'm out. I mean, it's too little, too late for me.
Right.
You know, and that's kind of how I feel. Like I feel like all of this, you know, with this trial or this trial or that trial, or I mean, I guess in an like when I watch it, it's abstractly interesting in some way, but right. Yeah, I'm not really. It's like you could you don't punch me in the face and you can bring me flowers, you can buy me a car, but you punch me in the face, like I can't. So it's like watching the trial. It's like it ain't really nothing.
Right, and when I already told you the way I told. When they came down with that guilty verdict, that was the same. You know, that's the same as like you would beat your husband or your wife up, and then you bring them some flowers and say, bring them flowers and candy and say, I'm sorry. Their arm's still broken. You bring them this stuff while their arm is broken, and you're about to do it again in a day or two, if not that same day.
Or
right now, you're right.
Yeah.
So,
and I think depending on where you are, depending on where we are developmentally, when they bring the flowers, it can be, depending on where you are, you can be like, oh my gosh, they care about me. Oh my gosh, they love me. Oh right. And like, I think that a lot of us, that's where we are. We're like, this, like, oh, we heard them say on the TV, they said this verdict is a sign of the system changing. Remember they were saying that?
You saw how upset I got about that.
Right. I wasn't upset. I was just like, what? I mean, but I think that that's how we feel. Him bringing me these flowers, that's a sign that things are going to change.
Right.
Because for whatever reason, like we have to get that perspective and see it for what it is. And I mean, I think that a lot of us in the system, we just don't see it for what it is at this point.
Right. And they were saying that the verdict was showing that things are changing and that this is going to have repercussions around the world and so on. And I'm like, dude, it's like standing out there. It's like being in the casino
Yeah.
and hitting the jackpot, and then telling everybody around me, "Okay, I just hit the jackpot. That means that the tide is going to change for everybody. Everybody in here is going to start hitting the jackpot. Everybody's going to start winning from now on, and it's just going to spread throughout the casino. Are you out of your effing mind?
Yeah. Yeah. That's how it
Get
is.
the heck out of here! This is the first. You're trying to tell me this is the first cop that ever got convicted?
Yeah.
There's cops getting convicted all the time. They're dropped in the bucket.
Hmm.
And it's just something to keep us putting quarters into that slot machine, to keep us invested in the system, to keep us playing, to keep us thinking
Because they
that something's going to change.
because
Nothing's
they
going to
need
change.
our energy. They use our energy. They
Sacrificial ass
traffic.
lamb.
They traffic in our energy. Those coins, they want our coins in them slots. So yeah.
Right? They'll let you win $20, so you put another $200 in.
Hmm. So
Oh Lord, have a mercy upon me. These. Oh God.
yeah. So
Evil. Oh man, when he said that, I was like, no, 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 no. We need to get away from them, and there's no, they're not going to change.
yeah. And when I see it, I mean, I don't feel like he's alone. I don't feel like he's an exception. Like you were like, why is he saying that? I'm like, I think it's because they believe it. I think it's because
Right.
we believe it. I think it's because we're still
We
invested.
want to believe.
We're still hopeful. We want this relationship to work. We want, them to stop. We want them to stop beating us. We want us to just be a happy couple.
Right.
Even though he kidnapped me from the very beginning.
Right.
But we just want peace. We all just get along.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
that is.
and I don't know how to, it's like sometimes you feel like you're talking to the choir.
Right.
I mean, we can get into these circles where we're all talking to people who see things similarly, and we can make advances among ourselves and get a little more fine-tuned and a little more sophisticated about our analysis and understanding of what's going on. But and I mean, and I also feel like when people are ready. What?
You know why? You know why we're talking to the choir?
Why?
Cause my channel's shadow banned. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Anyway, by the way, this is kind of an abrupt subject change just for a moment. Everyone who made it to the wedding, thank you so much. And I wanted to do a formal thank you to everyone that joined us. That was really important to us.
Is this the formal thank you, or are you gonna do?
I'll probably do another one, but while they're here, I just wanted to say thank you, because that did mean a lot. And everything when everybody was coming in, we were letting them know we're on YouTube. We met on YouTube. When you said we met on YouTube. Did we date on YouTube?
Mm-mm.
Well, we got married on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Did we date on YouTube?
I did a little bit.
Mm-mm.
We got married, and I felt a little bad that you didn't make it in until the end, Julie. That.
But watching it on video is the same as being.
Well, yeah, but it was live.
I saw the wedding live. Yay! Yummy Kumi too. Is that how you say it? Yummy Kumi?
I think so.
Hi.
So, yeah, but I wanted people to be able to see it live.
Yeah, I mean it's yeah. I couldn't see it live. I watched a little bit of the video. Yeah. I watched a little bit of the recording.
Just like that. She watched it 3 times.
Yeah, I didn't watch it 3 times. I can't concentrate on it. I'm still too tired.
Yeah.
And then I still have to go. I had kind of a lot going on even after it, and then I got to go to work tomorrow, so I'm kind of like a little worn out.
Yeah, it was a lot, because I was trying to just have something really simple, and then it kind of turned into a thing, but it was a good thing.
Yeah, and it wasn't a lot. I mean, it was a lot to you because you haven't had that experience,
right.
But yeah. It
Yeah,
wasn't a lot.
it was nice though.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was.
But anyway, we both just want to thank everyone who took the time, time out of their day to join us and to watch.
Yeah. I
So
saw a
thank you.
little bit of your video today, Radical Sister. I was in and out and you had it on.
Hmm.
So I saw bits and pieces. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that was Sister Adelita going in
Yeah.
because Caribbean Fire. Yeah, his channel. Oh, I didn't even tell you his channel got taken down again.
Korean Fire did that channel?
Mhm. Water Sniper.
Oh, Water Sniper.
Yeah, got taken down a second time.
Yeah.
So, and he's not even talking about radioactive rice.
Yeah.
They still pulling him down.
Yeah.
Fukushima, radioactive rice, black love, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Beyonce, Cardi B, a whole bunch of foolishness that doesn't mean anything to anybody. 20K views in the first half hour.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. We're dealing with the people who are bent on destruction. We're dealing with the people who are bent on our destruction. You know, and and frankly, like I keep saying, as my mantra, we just need to separate from
Oh,
it.
I thought you were gonna say I know where I am.
Well, and I do. I know where I am, and I know who I'm dealing with, and that took me a while, as you know. That took me a while to really get into my consciousness who it is we're dealing with.
And I feel like it's an ongoing process for me, you know, and I feel like the resistance, to certain ideas, and it's like the evidence can be there, but the programming inside is so strong sometimes it's challenging to, like, like I'll say certain things like, well, it seems like, I don't know if they're human, or it seems like,
Right.
they don't have any compassion, or
Right.
maybe they are different from us, and it like just feels so weird to say, even though it's like there's so much evidence
Right.
for it, but it's just it's that programming is deep,
Well, I think about the difference between ownership and like renting something or leasing something or borrowing something. When you own something, then there's a certain way that you take care of it. When you don't feel like something belongs to you or something is yours, then you don't. In my experience, you don't take care of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I said that to say, when you look at the way, I think we've actually had this conversation. When you look at the way that white people are toward the planet, I'm like, how can you be from a planet that you can't even live on unless you alter it? You like got slather stuff on you, right? You got slather stuff on you. You got to change the atmosphere, everything, just so you can live on it. How are you from here? Number one, and number two, you don't take care of it like you have an investment in it. Everybody else takes care of the planet as if it matters to them, and as if you live on it. And I don't have to slather anything on me to go out in the freaking sun either.
Yeah.
So their whole demeanor is like they want to have it. You know what I mean? They want to encroach upon. They want to use the resources and use up the resources, encroach into every place, grab the resources, but at the same time, don't care about how they're taking care of it. You can't even eat freaking fish anymore. And I love fish. I love fish. Vegetarian now, but I love fish. I used to love all kinds of seafood. I don't eat that mess because I want to glow in the freaking dark. It's
Yeah.
and so and I already said I'm gonna check into the rice, but I don't think they send the irradiated rice to Canada and to here,
Right.
Or Europe.
Yeah.
So talk about what you was telling me about the formula.
Oh, no, this is something I had just heard years ago about Nestle. It was some formula that was baby formula that they couldn't sell here in the States because it was banned or, they were like, it's not safe. And, so they were selling it in Africa and the Caribbean. They were selling it to black folks or other places. And so that just kind of like, even, like, I guess it kind of like, that's a turn off for me. Like I don't feel like, oh well, I don't have to worry about the formula, so I don't care. It's like, ill. I don't want to deal with Nestle. I don't want to give them any of my money. I don't, so it's sort of like, even if they're not selling the radioactive rice here or donating it here or whatever,
Right.
it's sort of like, if you operating on that vibration, then I don't, if I can avoid investing in it, if I can avoid being a part of it, if I can avoid contributing to it, then I don't want any part of it,
Right.
So it's sort of like, yeah. And I was already kind of anyway about rice with all the arsenic, and
Right.
I've been reading something. One of my little the groups I was on Facebook was talking about if you soak it and then you cook it and then pour out the water you cooked it in, and then rinse it, and like all of this stuff trying to deal with arsenic. But I had kind of like cut back on rice consumption anyway. um,
Well,
it's a toxic energy, yes, exactly.
right.
And whether it's directed to me, where I can identify that it's directed to me, I feel like if it's directed to anybody, like that's ill. I'm not for that.
Well, you already know I did. I did some research, and I was looking up the countries that are the most generous, and the countries that are the least generous, and the ones and Japan. Japan was like they were like in the bottom 10, I think it was. They were in the bottom 10. In other words, they don't get squat to anybody.
Hmm.
But all of a sudden, they're gonna turn into like these philanthropic, philanthropic group, and just start handing out rice and giving away. I would side eye anybody who's stingy as I don't know what.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden they're trying to hand me something. I'm just
Hmm.
side eye whatever they're handing me
Like why?
because you have a track record of not giving anybody anything
Yeah.
but a hard time, and now you want to just give away all this rice,
Hmm.
and you're
Yeah.
and you're giving it to a people who you're giving it to a people who have been starved out.
Hmm.
So they're glad to be getting whatever they're getting because they think they're getting something to eat. You
Speaking
know,
of, Haiti was one of the countries on the list, as I understood it. And when I went to Dominican Republic, I remember as I was getting ready to go, it was like this thing I was reading that was like how if you look at the island, because Haiti and Dominican Republic are two countries that share the same island, you probably already know that. But they're saying if you look at it from the air, what I read that Haiti is like all brown because the people are poor and they're cutting down the trees, and they have to cut down the trees to get fuel for heat, cut down the trees to get fuel for food, everything, when you cut down the trees and the other stuff starts eroding and stuff can't grow and the grass they ain't got nothing to hold on to. There's no root system and it's just brown. I was watching this video that white,
right,
some white guy made this video. He
right,
went up into the mountains and it was so lush and so
hmm
beautiful, like the footage, like
green, green,
it was
green.
just green, green, green. And so I was like kind of confused. And I mean, I guess I read that one thing and it made a big impression on me. But like watching that video, it just reminded me that like the world is full of all of these places that you just don't know, and like a lot of the ideas that you have about places are wrong.
hmm
And then when he went up into the mountains, it was like a whole production to get up there. And I had been reading, oh no, I've been listening to this podcast called Revolutions. And not the whole podcast. I just been listening to the Haiti piece. But they were talking about how a lot of the Maroons in Haiti went up into the mountains, and during the Haitian Revolution, they go up to the mountains to hide and they come down to fight, go whatever.
hmm
But they went up into these mountains, and it was like he was showing the guy like his house, and he's like this pile of wheat, or it was like straw or something, and he was like, it's just, he pulled out some beans and it was like bean pods. And I'm
hmm
like, now who are these people? Have they been living there since the revolution? Do they pay rent? Did like they don't
Oh,
seem like
yeah.
they have TV. He brought them a radio and they were like just dancing to the music.
Hmm.
But it's just like who are like I just feel like the world is full of people who are living different from us. And
Right.
I think they're free in certain or I can't say us, but from me, but I think they're free in certain ways. Like,
Right.
you
In a
know,
lot of ways.
right. They got all this food stored up. Why do they have this food stored up? Is that a week's worth of food, a month's worth of food, a year's worth of food,
Hmm.
5 years worth of food? Is it because the people are getting older and they know they need to store because they're not gonna be able?
Hmm.
Like I was just like, like I'm like, what's going on? Like I just want to understand. Just like I was talking when we were, I was talking to they know what hunger is.
Hmm.
Yeah, maybe that's it. But these people, they just seem like they're just living. They were like picking fruits off the trees. They were doing their cacao, which I saw. They just like they didn't look like they wanted for anything from what
Right.
I could tell. And it was just so lush and vibrant, and it was just it was beautiful. It
That
was
was.
just it was yeah. I mean, I was kind of yeah. It's like it's a whole world out there. It's a
Hmm.
whole world out there. I was gonna say
Yeah,
something else, but I forgot.
and it's a world that they don't want us to know about
Mhm.
and to understand
Mhm.
because it wasn't full of gadgets. It
Mhm.
wasn't full of television. It wasn't full of it all the like I said all the baubles that
Mhm.
we're stuck on and all this materialism. If once you're separated from the materialism, that really starts to get you separated from these people because their system is based on
On
materialism.
materialism.
Because when when you're dealing with a people who are like stronger than you, more intelligent than just more talented than you, all these different things, then that you have to develop a system that makes it so that they are in control of it.
Mhm.
And so if you create a system of materialism and then make it so that you can get anything you need within that system, but deny it to to others, then that puts you in control and puts you at the top.
Mhm.
You got a room full of black football players or basketball players or whatever, at the height of their physical prowess. And then you have some little old white man on a ventilator, and just because he's a billionaire, he can tell all of them what to do.
Mhm.
And any one of them could like beat the crap out of them and
Mhm.
just leave them there.
Mhm.
But yet this little wretched person has control of them because he has control of the money.
Mhm.
And he has control of the money because he's existing within a system that's set up to support him and to put him at the top
Mhm.
and to keep the others at the bottom.
Mhm.
But once you separate from that system and you're like, well, keep your Bentley, keep your McMansion or your real mansion, keep your
Your
TV,
Toyota.
keep your toys, keep your toys. They don't have a hold on us like that,
Mhm.
and that's why they're constantly, giving us these images and constantly like Real Housewives and all this different stuff where that's all they show. We're going to this dinner and we're going to drink champagne and we're
You
going to
never even
screw
watched
that
Real
up.
Housewives.
I have to watch Real
But let
Housewives.
me tell you this: on Real
She
Housewives,
made me watch it.
on a lot of those shows, the people don't look happy. When they were
Right.
going up, the people who were, they were just like everywhere I looked, it was like people were like smiling and happy. And I feel kind of like, just like you talking about this shadow band thing, I just kind of feel like, keep your treatment, Satan.
All right.
I just kind of feel like there's something to be said for YouTube. There's something like, but there's something to be said for connecting with people in real life.
Mm-hmm.
There's something to be said for seeing things for yourself. There's something to be said for experiencing things through yourself and outside of their control, outside of their system. Like, I feel like, you say we dated on YouTube, but I don't feel like we dated on
We did.
YouTube. Oh, yeah. I mean, we did meet on YouTube, but I feel
Right.
like, I don't.
Well, we had to date in real life.
Yeah, I guess you could have
to,
dated
to,
on
to create
YouTube.
a connection.
Well, that's the point. Like I feel like we need to, in terms of like separation, and in terms of exploring other options and understanding how to live. We have understanding how to live free, understanding how to live in our world. We have to connect with each other. We have to be with each other. We have to talk to each other. We have to like
love, honor, and respect
each other. But it's like a real life thing. Like, and like I feel like we're more and more alienated through certain things. So I personally feel like, you know, and this is crazy because we met on YouTube, but I kind of feel like I don't give a F about a shadow ban. I'm trying to connect with real people in the real world. And you can't shadow ban God. You can't shadow ban reality. You can't shadow ban authenticity. Like, you can't, they don't control what's real. They don't, I just don't, it don't stress me. It don't bother, because I just kind of feel like I don't need to be connected. They stuff is what it is for what it is, but it ain't that deep to me.
Right. Now that said, we met on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so there is something to be said for, like you have channels that have like 20, 30, 40, 100K and more subs and viewers. Could you imagine what would happen if one of them was to start? And I'm not just saying this because I believe it, because we talk about it, in person. Could you imagine what would happen if one of them was to start talking about this radioactive rice? If one of them was to start talking about Fukushima and this radiation? And the thing is, you have some of them who say, "Well, I won't talk about that because it sounds like conspiracy theory." And all this phoniness about Cardi B and all these celebrities, that's real. All that crap, that's for real. That's reality. Get out of here! Something somebody's press agent came up with, so your dumbass can talk about it, and keep making a chicken sandwich.
I heard the chicken sandwich went away.
I did. Well, I didn't hear about because I don't follow.
I told you.
Oh, that's right. But a chicken sandwich, and you got our children being irradiated and dying. You got us being irradiated. You talking about a freaking chicken sandwich?
But I feel like, and we talked about this, and I don't really know exactly how to put it into words, but I just kind of feel like the mainstream is the mainstream. If they started talking about certain things, they wouldn't be mainstream. Many of us don't yet have the capacity. Like when you talk about surface thinking, Sister Ajali, it's like many of us don't yet have the capacity or the discipline to go beneath the surface. Many of us don't have the capacity or the discipline to think deeply about anything. Many of us don't have the capacity yet or the discipline to talk about anything serious, to explore anything serious. The most that we can handle is a conversation about Cardi B at this moment. Not to say that we, can't expand our capacity, but it's sort of like, in general, like I feel like that's the mainstream. It's like, somebody, some of us, somebody has to be the leader. Somebody has, like, but we can't rely on them to free us.
Well, that's the thing, though. We're not relying on it, but at the same time, it's like we were talking about the training and conditioning of our people, because we are very, very, very entertainment oriented. If you're not entertaining me, I don't want to see it. And that's detrimental. Now I love being entertained. I love movies. These are laser discs impacting me. I watch movies. I collect. I love entertainment, but not all the time. It's like eating dessert all day long. Eat a freaking
apple.
Eat an apple every now and then. It's like just stuffing your face full of junk 24 hours a day.
But if you look at when I look at us, I feel like we don't have, for many of us, we don't have the maturity to eat an apple. We don't have the discipline to eat an apple. I think we're in distress. We're traumatized, and we need comfort. We feel like we
Right.
need comfort, and that's our comfort. And we don't want, things are already tough enough. So it's like, y'all gonna have my bacon. Like, you're not gonna take that from me. You may shoot me in the street, but not without my bacon. Like I feel like, now I don't know. I think that each of us who are able to, in our own personal lives, we have to do the work. We have to do the tough work of developing our maturity, of becoming more disciplined, of growing, so that we can be models, so that we can help to guide as other people are ready to take a step to take, that we can be there for each other.
But the question becomes, where's the entry point?
Mm-hmm.
Because at some point, like if I'm used to just eating junk,
Mm-hmm.
and I like my junk. My junk is comforting to me. My entertainment is comforting to me. Where's that switch you can flick to to like I said, to create an entry point where you start to veer off from that and start trying to understand deeper issues and see things as they actually are.
Mm-hmm.
Where is that?
Yeah, I feel
I'm
like
trying to look at Water Sniper's comment too. I can't see it. I don't have my glasses.
uh,
The average.
adult content is too deep for the average YouTuber consumer, says Step Brother. Talk about the latest iPhone color scheme for fast food cuisine, and you'll be related to. Black Fist put a link up to the wedding. Thank you, Radical Sister. That's what it is. Radical Sister. Wow, that's so well analyzed, sister. Thank you. Wow, I thought they were albums. That's a lot of Laserdisc. Yes,
That's
it
just
is,
that's just the top row.
and that's just what you can see.
Right.
Fukushima from A to Z playlist. Black Fist put up the link there.
Mhm.
Thank you for explaining that, dear sister. I don't know what I was rambling on. The average YouTube content is aimed at about a 14-year-old mindset.
Mhm.
Oh shoot, I was trying to scroll up, but I don't know what I did, babe.
Oh,
But they won't attempt to refute the mountains of research. Our sister is weird as heck. I've said that to my best nature to make sense of all of this.
Mhm.
I can't scroll up.
And that's it.
Oh wait, here it is. Okay.
Okay.
Where's Water Sniper?
And
Some of the maroon mixed and mingled with the slave, and other never intermarried. So well said. Christina Edwards said some of the maroon mixed and mingled with the slaves, the enslaved. These sick old white sports owners can buy and sell actual players. That sounds like sports
right.
human trafficking.
Right.
Says you, Yumi Kuni
Good
too.
comment.
Good comment. What's up with that? Yes, my king noticed how all the big athletes are drinking wine in their talk shows, says the Radical Sister.
Hmm.
Brother Danubian, keep your trinkets. Black Fist put up a link to This Black on Amazon.com. Black Fist said, like, share, comment, subscribe. If you're here, you obviously like the comment. Look at you moderating. Ashe to your mother, says Black Fist to Christina Edward. We're always here. My mother was Haitian. These people have always been there even before slavery. Aiti, Ayti. Thank you, baby, because I made it blue. How did I do that?
Yeah, it just hit to the side, and then it did that.
I've heard the sanity is so real outside of the U.S., says the Radical Sister. Yumi Kumi too. The Haitians burn most of the rice and seeds. The U.S. footage only show. Oh, and Haiti is in the middle of a revolution right now. There's somebody who I follow on Twitter who's talking about it, but it's like it's a whole bunch of stuff going on.
And I actually I say this. I'm not gonna say I say this to my shame, but I'm still learning. I don't know it all, but Angela, you were the one that was pointing out to me that one of the reasons that the United States and everybody else is so hard on Haiti is because Haiti's the one that got away.
Oh, yeah.
And they never got over it. They never forgot it.
Yeah. When the Haitian Revolution came, from the way I understand it is that the Haitians were like, look, if you black and you get here, you free. And they didn't want the word to get out, or the black folks wanted the word to get out to all of the black folks, but other people were concerned, or others were concerned that the black folks, so they didn't, that was like a source. And then also because Haiti was the wealthiest colonial place in the new world at that time. And so, they lost that. And they still mad. Like talking about somebody who can hold a grudge, they really, really mad. They don't want to see Haiti thrive. They don't want to see Haiti shine, because that's kind of like, if Haiti thrives and Haiti shines, then we might get the idea that we could be free. We might get the idea that Vodun, which like the ceremony that initiated the whole thing, might be for our revolution, might be for our good, might be for our advancement. We might get some ideas that, we love blackness. We might get some ideas that you can be black and win. Although it's only been 500 years, it's like that we've been kind of struggling like this. But, yeah, Haiti. But I thought you were going to say, and I saw a tweet the other day that said there's some gold or mineral deposits in Haiti that they're trying to get a hold of. That's what I thought you were going to say.
Right. And that's the thing. Everybody is going every place. Into Haiti, like going into different countries in Africa, trying to divvy it up, and it's not theirs.
Right.
And everybody's trying to divvy it up. I'm like, what the hell are you doing over here?
But see, I kind of feel like that's
the Chinese, the Europeans, the British. I'm like, what the hell?
That's the other part of a demand to me. Just like when we're like, I demand that you give us our full rights as citizens, and they're like,
or else
who's gonna check me, boo? Like, right, what you gonna do? That's the other part of it's not yours to divvy up. If they in there divvying it up and we ain't, who gonna stop them? They've been divvying it up. It's like, so it's kind of like, I feel like to say that it's almost like good night, the radical sister.
Good night.
Unfortunately, I have to retire now. I know I'm tired. I gotta go too. Yeah. So I feel like, yeah, they divvying it up, because they say possession is 9/10 of the law. They got it. They divvying it up. They done bought the class of people who or the group of people who are managing the resources and giving them access to the resources. They discovered pure gold under Haiti C. That's what why the white people refuse to leave the land from Christina Edwards. Yeah.
I have to check into that. They found something there.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that sounds like, as a matter of fact, I think I heard something about that.
Yeah, I saw some tweet or something about it, and I was like, well, it makes sense if it's his profile. In addition to just, not wanting to see anything black just, thrive and do well under their watch as much as they can help it. So, and oil, Christina Edwards said, and oil. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. And then,
go ahead. I'm about ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
Because I ain't really come to stay on. I just wanted to say something about that Amber Geiger thing. That was bothering me all day, the different stuff that was happening.
Did you get it off your chest?
No. I got it off my chest. But again, we both want to thank everyone that joined us for our wedding. It was great. You got anything to say?
Thank you. I felt like we should have named the thing since we met on YouTube, and that's why we're getting married on YouTube. But yeah, thank you, and thank you for the work and thought and the energy that you're putting into our freedom and us reconnecting with ourselves and becoming unalienated, reconnected with ourselves and with each other.
Right.
We need y'all.
And just like us, just like you out there are people who are very serious about separating out of this system. And we each, since it's such a difficult thing to even think about, like physically separating, I think all of us who are really serious about it are finding our own ways to separate step by step, to leave the system, to leave, and that's encouraging. And I think that we can't really let those who don't want to separate. I don't even know if we should even be upset with them. Just know what it is that we want to do for ourselves and individually, and eventually some will come to see the light, some won't, and they'll want to stay in. It's their call, just like it's our call. So that's about it. We gotta go to bed.
Thank you. Congratulations again. Brother
Thank you.
Nubian, all I see is 5 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I don't know what that is, but
He's saying we squares.
um,
No, he's not saying we
he's saying you
squares.
got a 5 head
All right.
and you square. So this was great again. Thanks and good night, family. Stay together, but separate from the system.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, says Avery Hodge. Excellent advice.
So,
I'm tired.
so peace, family. Yeah. When you see things that disappoint you, whether it's one of these cases or what, just remember we're on our way out the door anyway. So that's it. All right, we gone. Last
All
one out the
right.
door. Get the light. I ain't got all that money.
Keep the lights on all night.
Right.